Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks, coming to you today from the outskirts of Madrid. And today I'm going to have a bit of a chat about the real estate market in this country and whether or not there is a bubble currently in the sector or whether everything is smooth sailing as far as that sector is concerned. Now, the reason I'm doing this video today is because I got a comment left on the channel the other day by a recipe review, and the comment goes something like this: construction is booming, new estates springing up all over. I think we're heading for a new 2008 bust. I give it 2 years, so my prediction, 2026. Now, when I saw this comment, I started to panic a little bit. I hadn't realized that we're currently in the middle of a bubble. I did some research on it, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But what I want to do today is go for a drive around this area here, as I said, on the outskirts of the capital city, Madrid, around 17 kilometers away from the center of that city, and see if there is indeed a lot of construction, new construction happening in this area. And fortunately, as we can see down there, there's some construction work going on, so let's go and check it out. Now, I'll give you guys a bit of a background story about the construction sector in this country while I head down to this new build. And basically, since I've been living here, the industry has gone up. We know that there was a huge bust back in 2008, then it went down, and it's been working its way up ever since. And during COVID times, or just after COVID times, there has been a lot of activity. The area that I live in here, a lot of the main building activity, some of those flats that we can see there, we can just sort of see the tops of those buildings there. They were built around, let me think, around 2018, 2019, just before COVID, I think, because the sector was completely decimated after 2008. There was no construction basically for around 6 or 7 years. Then all of a sudden, bang, all of these lands that were vacant were built on, and lots of people have come to live in this area. In fact, the population in this town here over the 100,000 mark nowadays, and I reckon it's grown by about 30,000 people over the last decade or so. So very, very popular. And let's go and check out that property down there now. Now, the building that we've got going on in the background here, upmarket housing in this country, we can see semi-detached homes. I'll tell you the price of these homes in just a moment, but as we can see on the wall there, the graffiti artists have already struck. Amazing. And another thing we can see with these houses is that the balconies, or some type of construction there, is actually coming out over the top of the sidewalk or footpath there. So don't know about that, but they're obviously pushed for space. We can see here that this is a park. So the construction is going on basically on the side of this park here. And why the local council didn't turn this whole area into a park, I've got no idea. Well, actually, I do have an idea. It's all about money. So how much are you going to be paying for one of these semi-detached houses that I have behind me here? Well, the answer is 577,000 euros, which in my opinion is a lot of money considering the salaries in this country. 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, 284 square meters. So that's what you're getting for your money here on the outskirts of Madrid. Now, I'm not sure when these properties are going to be finished. They've been going for over a year now, so I would say another 5-6 months maybe, so around April, May next year, perhaps a little bit earlier, perhaps a little bit later, not quite sure, but that's when you would get your hands on these properties. There are still some available. There's a total of 45 properties available here. I know somebody that has bought one of these properties paying around that amount of money, so a lot of money, and so that's what you're getting for your money here on the outskirts of Madrid if you want to live in something like this. Now, let's go and check out some more new constructions in the area and see what's going on, and let's see if there is a bubble or not currently in this area at least. Now, in this area here, I reckon we'll be able to find some new buildings, some new apartment blocks that are going up. This one bang in front of us here is about 5 or 6 years old, I think. The Burger King restaurant is a new addition to the neighborhood. It's gone up in the last year or so. Can't really understand why, because there's a school here and another school on the other side of it. So bang in the middle of 2 schools is the Burger King, but we can see the crane there. So that is a construction that is taking place at the moment. an apartment block, I believe. Let's go and check it out. We can also see that there's a truck here in the middle of the road where they're dropping things off. So let's go and see if we can park and take a look at what they're building here, which, as I said, probably started maybe 3-4 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, not sure. Let's see if we can park. Now, another thing that's interesting about construction in this country post 2015, 2016 is that this house that I have here behind me was a vacant block the last time I filmed a video. I think I filmed a video around 6-7 years ago, maybe, not sure exactly when, and this was a vacant block of land. So these houses here have also gone up in the last 7 or 8 years, or even less. I think they look quite new. So that's also what's happened. And in front of us here, I'll just turn the camera around so we can see that there. In front of us, those were started to be built back in 2008, but were completely paralyzed for around 7 or 8 years, and now they have been finished, and lots of people living there. So this whole area has come alive since 2016, 2017, with all of these new builds and thousands of people coming to live in this area. Now you can get an idea of what's going up here. It's a 4-story apartment block. Not sure how many apartments there would be in total there, but that's the new style of living in this area that I'm living in here. Lots of flats, lots of apartments being built or have been built over the years. Not so many nowadays, I correct myself there. But this is the typical construction that you'll see in Spain, and this is what the majority of Spaniards are living in, a building like this one here. And as I said, this is the only one going on in the area, because the rest of the constructions here, the rest of the houses have already been built, as I said, around 7-8 years ago. So this is the only new one that I can find in this particular area of this type. We saw the houses before. These are flats. Let's go and see if we can find some more. And to do that, I'm going to go to the new area here, which basically has gone through the biggest construction boom in this area over the last 10 years, and it's still happening. So let's go and check that one out. Now, straight in front of us here, we've got some more houses that were abandoned when the housing bubble burst back in 2008. They were sitting as shells for around 7 or 8 years, and again, over the last 5 or 6 years, they have been finished, and people have moved in, and no doubt an expensive investment. As we can see, the finishing of those places quite good. Now, I've just spotted some cranes over there. I'll turn the camera around in a moment so you can see them, and that is some new construction activity in this neighborhood here, which is not far from where I live. So we're going to go and check out those cranes over there. You should be able to see that crane moving. So let's go and check out what the construction activity is like in this neighborhood. Now we can see more apartments being built over there. Not sure what the price of those apartments is, whether they're protected houses. One of the things here in Spain is that the local councils have a lot of protected houses. They build them for the locals to get in, and it also helps them to get votes when there's municipal elections on, because the house prices are below market value. So not sure what's going on with that. And over there I can see more construction work. I think over here as well, there's more construction work going on. So a lot of work going on in this area. Let's go and have a look at this one over here. So over there through the fence, you can see another building going up. We'll go and check that one out in a moment. We can also see here a vacant block, which I imagine has been there for a long time now. And I imagine, again, it's only a matter of time before something is built on this land here. Don't know what it will be. Don't know whether it will be houses or apartments. Don't know whether it will be some type of municipal building, something along those lines. But as we can see here, construction work going on over there, construction work going on behind me there, and some more construction work going on down there. So there is construction fever in this part of Spain. Not sure about the rest of the country. We know that Madrid is an area that does grow faster than other parts of the country. So if you went to a smaller city or town here in Spain, I don't think you would see as much construction activity going on, but here definitely. And as we know, there is a housing shortage in Spain at the moment. Lots of people desperate to get their hands on property, and no doubt those apartments over there will be snapped up fairly quickly if they haven't been done so already. Now we'll go for a drive through the neighborhood, check out what other types of things are popping up as a result of these new constructions, see if there's any businesses that are opening up as well. I can see a supermarket down the end of the street here, which looks to be fairly new. We've got another vacant block here on the right. So I imagine something will go up there in due course. We've got buildings in front of us there that also look to be fairly new. I'm going to turn down here because the other building that's going up at the moment is just over there. So let's go and check it out. So we can see here another vacant block here to the right. More vacant blocks in front of us. So plenty of space here to build, I will say. Let's turn left here if we can. And check this one out here. There's some information up here, so we'll see if we can read that information. Let's have a look. I'll just put the indicators on here to park the car. And the name of the building is Edificio Oceano Ártico, so the Arctic Ocean building. We've got 2, 3 and 4 bedroom flats going up there. They've got ample terrace space or balcony space. There's also going to be a pool and an area where children can play. So if you want to check out the prices for yourself, you could probably go online and see what they are going for, but a pretty penny no doubt. Now we'll continue down here. We can see children's playgrounds have been built. Let's see if we can turn left here. One-way street. Let's have a look. This building here on the right also looks to be fairly new, as does the one in front of us there. Or I could be wrong. This one looks to be a little bit older. It could be. Let's continue down here. Another vacant block over here on the right, and there's something being built. So you can get an idea of what the construction sector's like in this part of Spain at least. If you're in Spain, let us know what it's like in your part of the country, and if it is as active as it is here, let us know. So from what we've seen so far, there's definitely a lot of activity going on. Houses being built, flats being built in this particular neighborhood here. Now I imagine on the outskirts of Madrid, it is a similar situation. But what do the experts say about this new potential housing bubble? Let's take a look in the press. First piece of news here from La Vanguardia, Catalonian newspaper, and it is that experts rule out a real estate bubble for 2024. Following the constant rise in housing prices and the imbalance between supply and demand for apartments that has been experienced in recent years, there is speculation about a possible real estate bubble. Spain has been in a difficult real estate situation for several years, which brings to mind the 2008 crisis and raises fears of a repeat. The bursting of a real estate bubble would increase the country's economic crisis and could even lead to social problems such as an increase in evictions and debt. A property bubble is created when the price of real estate increases without justified causes, a situation that generally occurs when there is an imbalance between supply and demand. As there is much more demand for property, it cannot be fully satisfied, and the market takes advantage of this to raise prices. Although the current situation of the real estate market in the country has us a bit alarmed, especially when recalling the crisis of 2008, the truth is that there are no signs that a real estate bubble could burst. So some good news there according to that newspaper, La Vanguardia. What does another one say? Well, this article here, are we facing a real estate bubble in Spain? Let's have a look. The tightening of the rental market, especially in some urban areas or those linked to tourism, together with the rise in the price of home ownership, which in the last quarter, for which data is available, has risen by almost 8% in general and 11% for new housing, has set off all the alarms about the possibility that we are on the verge of a real estate bubble like the one that was created in 1998 and lasted a decade. And the article goes on with various theories from this economist, who was the Minister of the Economy here in Spain some 10 or 12 years ago, and he comes up with the conclusion that we are still well below the prices of the real estate bubble of the first decade of the century, both in terms of rental and purchase prices, especially for second-hand housing. But that does not mean that we cannot be below the same level in the coming quarters or years. In a future article, I will explain the reasons why I believe that the risk of a future real estate bubble is quite high. So quite clear from this economist that although there are signs of a potential bubble, we're not in it yet, but he's not ruling it out in the future. Interesting. And here's another example of a piece of land that will be turned into houses like the ones that we have over there. We can see here, Promoción de Viviendas, Jarama, and you can find the information no doubt on the website. Not sure how long this sign's been here. Some of the paint is fading, so it could be a while before we see flats or apartments on this block of land. Time will tell. So in conclusion, from what we've seen, it's obvious that there's a lot of construction activity going on currently in Spain. But are we at the same levels as we were back in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, before that bubble burst? Well, according to the experts, no. And to put that into some type of perspective, back in 2005, construction GDP sat at 10.4%, and in 2022, it was at 4.9%. So I'd say that currently it's around 5.5%, maybe 6% of GDP construction. However, as we saw, and according to that economy minister, Miguel Sebastián, or the former economy minister here in Spain, we could be heading towards another crash. Not sure when. I'll have to wait for that article to be published, but there is a lot of activity, a lot of demand, and always in a country like this, there is a worry that the bubble could burst and the economy could be severely affected. But I would like to think that the people in charge of this country have learnt their lesson from the last bubble that burst back in 2008 and affected the economy enormously for around 7 or 8 years. As I said, I'd like to think that they have learned from that mistake, but I could be mistaken, of course. And another important factor is that here in Spain, we don't have the same amount of banks that we had back in the 2000s. Back in the 2000s, there were lots and lots of banks in this country, savings banks, normal banks, but a lot of those banks have disappeared over the last 15 years or so. So not as easy to get your hands on money as it was back in the day. So that could also be a factor. So we'll keep an eye on the real estate market in this country, the construction market in this country. We'll see if it heats up even more, and if the person that left that comment is correct about their prediction that in 2026 this is going to burst. We'll see. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you're planning on buying real estate in this country, let me know what you think of what we've talked about today. And if you have anything else to add to the conversation, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego from Madrid, Spain.